About 4 years ago, I woke up suddenly at 3 in the morning. No alarm, no noise, just that strange feeling in your chest that something isn't right. I walked quietly into the kitchen of my house here in Phoenix, Arizona.
The whole neighborhood was asleep. I poured myself a glass of water, opened my laptop, and checked my bank account. What I saw on that screen didn't just surprise me. It forced me to face a truth that many Americans over 50 eventually realize. Making money and building financial security are not the same thing. And that night changed the way I think about money forever. I'm 56 years old, and for most of my adult life, I worked in sales. For nearly 30 years, I sold home improvement products across Arizona. Roofing, windows, renovations. Some years were great, some years were tough. But overall, I made what most people would consider a decent living. I wasn't rich, but I wasn't struggling either. At least that's what I always told myself. For most of my 40s, life felt stable. My husband and I owned a modest house in a quiet suburb of Phoenix. Our kids had grown up and moved away for college. We had 2 cars in the driveway, a decent retirement account, and enough money for the occasional vacation to California. From the outside, everything looked fine. But something about my finances had always bothered me. I just didn't think about it too deeply. Like many people, I assumed things would eventually work out. One afternoon, about 4 years ago, I met an old friend for coffee. His name was Robert. Robert and I had worked together years earlier, but he had retired at 60. And honestly, I was a little surprised. He didn't earn more than I did. So I asked him something directly. How did you manage to retire so early? Robert smiled and said something simple. Consistency. That was it. One word. Consistency. The Arizona sun was setting over the desert. Traffic was slow, and I started thinking, yes, I had always worked hard, but I also spent easily. New gadgets, upgrading cars, eating out more often than we probably needed to. Nothing extravagant, just constant small spending. That night, I went to bed like usual. But sometime around 3 a.m., I woke up suddenly. You know that strange feeling when your brain decides to revisit a thought you've been avoiding?
That's exactly what happened. I couldn't fall back asleep. So I walked into the kitchen, opened my laptop, and logged into my bank account. When the numbers appeared on the screen, I felt something I hadn't expected.
Not panic, but clarity. After nearly 3 decades of working, my savings were decent. But they weren't where I thought they would be. And the biggest surprise wasn't how much I had. It was how much had slowly slipped away over the years through everyday spending. Small things, impulse purchases, convenience expenses, little decisions repeated thousands of times. The next morning, I went to the grocery store like usual. But something felt different.
Instead of tossing things into the cart without thinking, I started paying attention. Prices, portion sizes, things we actually needed, things we didn't. And I realized something simple. Money isn't usually lost in big dramatic mistakes. It disappears quietly in small daily habits. Over the next few months, I didn't make extreme changes. I didn't stop enjoying life. I didn't cancel everything. But I did something much more powerful. I became intentional. I started tracking my spending. I set automatic transfers into my savings account. And I learned something that should probably be taught in every high school in America. Financial peace isn't about earning more. It's about managing what you already have. About 2 years after that 3 a.m. wake-up call, something interesting happened. For the first time in my life, I stopped worrying about money. Not because I suddenly became wealthy, but because I finally understood where my money was going. And when you understand your money, you control your future. If you're over 50 or 60 and watching this, here's something I wish I had understood earlier. Financial security isn't built in one big decision. It's built in thousands of small ones. The coffee you buy, the subscription you forget about, the impulse purchase you make online. None of those things seem important in the moment, but over 20 or 30 years, they matter more than most people realize. Sometimes the most important moments in life happen in complete silence, at 3 in the night, in an empty kitchen, with nothing but your thoughts and a laptop screen glowing in the dark. That night didn't make me richer overnight, but it made me wiser. And sometimes wisdom is worth far more than money.